The Kashmir conflict is a complex and long-standing dispute that has shaped the geopolitical landscape of South Asia for decades. It has its roots in the partition of British India in 1947, a momentous event that led to the creation of two independent nations, India and Pakistan. The princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, with its strategic location and diverse population, became a contentious issue as both nations laid claim to it. Both India and Pakistan claimed the region of Kashmir, each asserting historical and political reasons for their claims. The Maharaja of Kashmir's decision to accede to India in exchange for military aid against invading forces from Pakistan further complicated the situation. This has led to three major wars in 1947, 1965 and 1971, and numerous smaller conflicts, each leaving a trail of destruction and deepening the animosity between the two nations. The line of control, a de facto border, divides the region and remains one of the most militarized zones in the world. The dispute has resulted in significant loss of life and displacement. Thousands of families have been uprooted and countless lives have been lost in the crossfire. Refugee camps and memorials stand as somber reminders of the human cost of this enduring conflict. For decades, Kashmir has been a flashpoint in South Asia, with frequent skirmishes and ceasefire violations. The tense atmosphere is palpable, with military posts and barbed wire fences marking the landscape. Protests and civil unrest are common, reflecting the deep-seated grievances of the local population. The conflict has had a devastating impact on the people of Kashmir. Daily life is fraught with uncertainty and fear. The destruction of homes and infrastructure has left many struggling to rebuild their lives amidst the chaos. They have endured violence, human rights abuses, and economic hardship. The region's economy has suffered immensely, with tourism, once a thriving industry, now in decline. Human rights organizations frequently report abuses, adding to the sense of injustice and despair. The presence of armed groups has further exacerbated the situation. Militant activity and counterinsurgency operations by security forces have created a cycle of violence that seems unending. The local population often finds itself caught between these opposing forces. The lack of a resolution has left the region in a state of perpetual instability. Abandoned homes and frequent demonstrations are stark indicators of the ongoing turmoil. The heavy military presence adds to the atmosphere of tension and uncertainty. The international community has long recognized the Kashmir conflict as a threat to regional peace and security. United Nations resolutions and international peace conferences have sought to address the issue, but with limited success. Various attempts at mediation have been made over the years, including bilateral talks and third-party interventions. Despite these efforts, a breakthrough has remained elusive, with both sides holding firm to their positions. However, a lasting solution remains elusive. The empty negotiation tables and unfulfilled promises of peace are a testament to the complexity of the issue. The hope for a peaceful resolution endures, but the path to achieving it remains fraught with challenges. In February 2021, India and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire along the line of control. This historic agreement marked a significant turning point in the long-standing conflict between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. The line of control, often a flashpoint for hostilities, had seen countless skirmishes and artillery exchanges over the years, causing immense suffering to the people living in the border regions. This agreement was a significant development. It was the result of months of back-channel diplomacy and negotiations, reflecting a mutual desire to reduce tensions and avoid further bloodshed. The ceasefire was not just a military decision, but also a political one, aimed at creating a conducive environment for future dialogue and cooperation. It brought a much-needed respite from the frequent cross-border shelling and violence. For the villagers living near the border, the ceasefire meant a return to normalcy. Children could go to school without fear, farmers could tend to their fields, and families could sleep peacefully at night. The sense of relief was palpable and celebrations erupted in many border villages. The ceasefire held for over a year, providing a glimmer of hope for a more peaceful future. During this period, both sides showed remarkable restraint and incidents of cross-border firing dropped significantly. The soldiers, who had been on high alert for years, could finally lower their guard, if only slightly, and focus on maintaining peace rather than preparing for conflict. The 2021 ceasefire was widely welcomed by the international community. Countries around the world, including major powers and neighboring nations, praised the move as a step in the right direction. The United Nations and other international organizations also lauded the ceasefire, seeing it as an opportunity to push for a more comprehensive peace process. It was seen as a positive step towards de-escalation and dialogue. The ceasefire created a window of opportunity for both countries to engage in meaningful discussions on a range of issues, from trade and travel to water sharing and counter-terrorism. The hope was that this ceasefire could serve as a foundation for building trust and resolving long-standing disputes. However, it is important to note that the ceasefire remains fragile. Despite the initial success, the underlying tensions and mistrust between the two nations have not disappeared. The soldiers remain vigilant, aware that a single incident could reignite hostilities and undo the progress made. There have been sporadic violations. These incidents, though fewer in number, serve as a stark reminder of the volatility of the situation. Each violation threatens to unravel the fragile peace and plunge the region back into conflict. The underlying issues that led to the conflict remain unresolved. The Kashmir dispute, a core issue between India and Pakistan, continues to be a major point of contention. The aspirations of the Kashmiri people, the territorial claims, and the history of violence all contribute to the complexity of the situation. Without sustained efforts to address these issues, the risk of a return to violence remains high. Peace activists and civil society groups have been calling for continuous dialogue and confidence-building measures. They emphasize that only through sustained engagement and addressing the root causes of the conflict can lasting peace be achieved. The military forces, meanwhile, remain prepared for any eventuality, underscoring the delicate balance between hope and caution. Dialogue between India and Pakistan is essential for resolving the Kashmir conflict. Military solutions are not viable. Only through dialogue can the two countries address the underlying political, economic, and social issues at the heart of the dispute. Dialogue should be sustained and uninterrupted. It should involve all stakeholders, including the people of Kashmir. The international community can play a supportive role in facilitating dialogue and creating a conducive environment for negotiations. The international community has a responsibility to support efforts towards a peaceful resolution of the Kashmir conflict. Key actors, including the United Nations, major powers, and regional organizations, can play a constructive role. International actors can provide mediation and facilitate dialogue. They can also monitor the ceasefire and promote confidence-building measures. They can provide humanitarian assistance to the affected populations. They can advocate for the protection of human rights in the region. Section 5. Seeds of Lasting Peace, Recommendations for the Future. Resolving the Kashmir conflict will require a multifaceted approach. There is no quick fix. However, certain steps can be taken to create a more conducive environment for peace. Both India and Pakistan should prioritize dialogue and diplomacy. They should refrain from actions that could escalate tensions. They should address the human rights situation in Kashmir and ensure the protection of civilians. Section 6. The Weight of History, Understanding Past Mistakes. To move forward, it's crucial to learn from past failures in resolving the Kashmir conflict. The history of this region is marked by numerous attempts at peace, each one offering lessons that must not be ignored. Previous attempts at dialogue have often been short-lived or failed to address the root causes of the dispute. These efforts, while well-intentioned, have frequently stumbled due to a lack of mutual trust and understanding between the involved parties. One mistake has been the exclusion of Kashmiri voices. The people of Kashmir, who are most affected by the conflict, have often been sidelined in discussions that directly impact their lives and future. Any sustainable solution must consider their aspirations and address their concerns. The voices of the Kashmiri people are essential in crafting a peace that is not only lasting but also just and inclusive. Another error has been the lack of a comprehensive approach that tackles the political, economic, and social dimensions of the conflict. The Kashmir issue is not just a territorial dispute. It encompasses a wide range of issues, including human rights, economic development, and social justice. Addressing these facets holistically is key to finding a lasting resolution. International mediation and support can also play a crucial role. The global community must engage constructively, offering both diplomatic and humanitarian assistance to foster an environment conducive to peace. By understanding and learning from past mistakes, there is hope for a future where peace and prosperity can prevail in Kashmir. It requires a collective effort, a commitment to dialogue, and a willingness to address the complex realities of the region. Section 7. The People's Voice, centering Kashmiris in the narrative. The people of Kashmir have borne the brunt of the conflict for far too long. Their voices and aspirations must be central to any peace process. It is crucial to create spaces for meaningful participation of Kashmiris in dialogue. Their perspectives on issues such as governance, identity, and human rights are essential for finding lasting solutions. Section 8. Building bridges, not walls. Confidence-building measures. Building trust between India and Pakistan is crucial. Confidence-building measures can help create a more conducive environment for dialogue. These measures can include increasing people-to-people contact through cultural exchanges and cross-border trade, addressing the humanitarian crisis in Kashmir, and cooperating on issues of mutual interest such as water resources and environmental protection. Section 9. From conflict to cooperation, economic opportunities. Economic cooperation between India and Pakistan can create shared interests and foster mutual interdependence. This can involve reopening trade routes, promoting cross-border investments, and collaborating on major infrastructure projects. Economic cooperation can create jobs, boost economic growth, and improve living standards, contributing to a more stable and peaceful region for everyone. Section 10. A call to action for a peaceful and prosperous Kashmir. The Kashmir conflict is a complex and challenging issue. However, it is not insurmountable. With sustained effort and political will, a peaceful and prosperous future for Kashmir is possible. We must remember that the people of Kashmir deserve to live in peace, with their rights and aspirations respected. It is time for all stakeholders to come together and work towards a just and lasting solution to this long-standing conflict.